smart e-commerce brands are moving more of their budget across to YouTube and Google Ads. And this movement is happening very, very fast. In fact, in the last quarter of 2024, YouTube saw an increase of 13.8% spend on its paid platform. Now, because this has been happening on a quarter by quarter basis, this is more than just a little blimp, but this is a really set in stone trend. And a big reason for why smart e-commerce brands are investing more into YouTube ads is because they can capture users with high buyer intent. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 4 data-driven backed reasons for why your brand should be investing more in YouTube ads in 2025. And let's start right now with point number 1. And that is that YouTube has a higher intent audience. Just by the pure nature of how users engage with platforms like TikTok and Instagram versus YouTube. With those first two, TikTok and Instagram, it is more of a bit of a scrolling type platform. Now, there is nothing wrong with Instagram or TikTok being a scroll first platform. It's just that when we look at for the reasons for why people are going to those platforms, it's very much for an entertainment focus. So any ads that you're engaging with, they really need to interrupt that user. And while people do go to YouTube for the entertainment factor, YouTube also has a large user intent. Don't forget that YouTube is the second largest search engine behind Google, meaning that a significant part of the audience that is on YouTube is going there for a specific reason. And that's why well-placed ads can be put in the middle of product reviews, how-to guides, and product unboxings. So a big advantage that YouTube does have over the other platforms is that it's got an audience which is going there with a certain intent. They're wanting to find a solution, and this is where perfectly placed ads can really capture higher engagement. And one of the biggest misunderstandings from YouTube is that quite often people would say that when it comes down to people finding new brands or discovering new brands, that they would generally happen on social media platforms like TikTok and like Instagram. Now, I'm not saying that that does not happen, but last year, data released by Ipsos said that this also happens on YouTube as well, with 90% of users saying that they first heard of a brand or a product when they were on YouTube. Now, I want to be clear that for e-commerce brands, it shouldn't be a one or another. What I'm saying is that many brands are severely underspending what they should be on YouTube, and they're missing a large opportunity for another channel where they can engage a new audience, with the important factor being because people aren't on a big scroll fest on YouTube, they can engage with a buyer when they are ready to purchase. So the first big reason for why you should be investing more on YouTube ads as an e-commerce brand is that you're dealing with a high intent audience. Now, it goes without saying that for success with paid ads on YouTube and Google Ads as an e-commerce brand, you need to make sure that you are using it in the right way. So that's why after you watch this video, if you go into the description notes of this video, you can see a free live on-demand training, which is specifically about how e-commerce brands can take full effect with YouTube in 2025. And now let's talk about the second core reason for why smart e-commerce brands are investing more heavily into YouTube right now. And this comes down to data which is being released, which shows that users spend on average more time on YouTube than they do on other platforms. Now, I want to take you through the actual data released of how much time users spend on each platform each month. Now, this is based on US data, and with TikTok, it was an average of 9.5 hours a month, whereas Instagram was 12 hours a month. And I want you to hear this one for YouTube. Users spent on average 23.1 hours per month on YouTube. Now, you don't need to be an expert mathematician, but you can see right there that that's nearly 2 to 3 times more time that's spent each month on YouTube versus TikTok and Instagram. Now, another core factor here that is really significant for e-commerce brands is that up to 70% of that time is actually spent on TVs. And what I love about this for e-commerce brands is that you can get TV level exposure for a fraction of the cost. And as well, because those ads are being played on TV, they can't just swipe away. So it is helping with the engagement, especially when we're looking at those in-stream ads. It's a high level for you as an e-commerce brand to engage with related audiences. Now, when we talk about point 3, this has got to do with not only longer engagement, now we're looking at the ages of these audiences. And the data, once again, which is coming out from Ipsos, is showing that YouTube is an absolute goldmine for e-commerce brands because it's hitting the correct age brackets that we need, who are going to be spending those higher levels of products. So especially for an e-commerce brand, you know that you want to be getting at least a $50 average order value in order to make your ads scale. But with YouTube, you've got audiences that are easily spending well over $100 in a single transaction. And I want to show you the clear numbers here. We're going to go back and look at this report. So TikTok's audience has nearly 47% of their audience is under the age of 30. Whereas for Instagram, over 60% of their audience is under 35. But now let's break down these age brackets when it comes to YouTube. 20% is in that 25 to 34 age bracket. 15% is in that 35 to 44 age bracket, and then you've got 11% in that 45 to 54 age bracket. The great thing there is you've got a really large spread of highly engaged audiences who are also in that peak buying years to be able to actually afford your products. With the core message here being that YouTube gives you access to a wider range of audience so you can target them with specific products from your brand. And now let's talk about point number 4. And this all has to do with the fact that YouTube is powered by Google's search system. No one is denying the power of audience targeting and creatives that is offered on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. The great thing about YouTube is you're able to combine those two worlds, in that you're able to leverage the audience and the creative data that you're getting inside of YouTube, but also leverage that against any other search or search term related campaigns that you're running inside of your Google Ads account. And this is really becoming one of the core reasons why brands are starting to invest more heavily into YouTube, is because it does give you the best of those two worlds. That when you run your Google Ads account right, because just in case you didn't know, all of your YouTube ads are run inside of a Google Ads account, you can take those learnings from those high intent user searches, pull that audience data, and then pull that into targeted YouTube campaigns. So what YouTube gives an e-commerce brand is that unique opportunity where they can take audience learnings and creative learnings from either inside current YouTube accounts, or we've even taken that data from their meta ads campaigns, and use that data and that learnings, lay it on top of really specific high intent search terms, so that we can not only create but target the best ads for potential new customers. With YouTube allowing you for that full funnel attribution of not only targeting those buyers who are ready to convert, but also looking out and targeting brand new customers. And right now, let's jump into a screen share so I can give you some examples of how we're going about and doing this in real accounts. Now, what we're looking inside of here is an e-commerce brand that just launched midway through last year. And what we're able to do is we're able to take their spend up from about $2,000 a week up to regularly getting up that $16,500 to $17,000 a week in ad spend. What I want to show you here as well is at that same time, we're also able to scale up their conversion value and actually increase their ROAS values as we went along. For this brand, they needed to be at 200% to be profitable. And as you can see, that as we started to really scale up, we were able to get that above to the 400, so double where they needed to be, which allowed them to scale and really launch this brand throughout last year. Now, the way that we did this is a structure which I call the bottom-up funnel. And this is what I was talking about before. The beauty of YouTube is that it allows you to firstly build out some really high intent search campaigns. So we did this through search and shopping campaigns. Then from there, we added in some retargeting campaigns. So through the display network, we then added in some performance max, but this is where we're really able to start scaling by adding in these demand gen, which can be video-based campaigns and also video campaigns. When we added in these top level campaigns, that was where we were really able to see two things: this increasing scale of spend coupled with the increasing scale of the conversion value, which is what you need, and then also saw that ROAS increase. And this is where the real opportunity lies for smart e-commerce brands. If you've already got a successful campaign on platforms like Instagram, and you know the ad creators and you know the images that work for you and your brand, and you've also got some high intent search and shopping campaigns that are working and are profitable on Google Ads. If you can then combine those two data sets and really put together creative, so the images and the videos which you know work and really attract new customers to your brand, then layering it with the keyword and the audience targeting, which you can do inside of YouTube, that's where the real opportunity here lies for e-commerce brands. And the other thing that I'd really like to point out here is that, in my opinion, there is a severe underspend on YouTube ads at the moment. So what that also means is that the traffic is far cheaper on YouTube right now than what it's going to be in the years to come. So for those smart e-commerce brands that are able to move early onto this, they're going to see far more benefits than other brands which are sort of slower to the party. So that's why if you're looking to scale your e-commerce brand, I would heavily recommend that you join the YouTube party for your e-commerce brand in 2025. Now, as I said, if you want to make sure that you're doing this the right way, follow that link in the description below to get access to my free extra on-demand training. But if you want to stay here on YouTube and you'd like to learn more about some special types of campaigns that e-commerce brands can use, including Performance Max and Demand Gen, go through and watch this video right here. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Aaron Young from Define Digital Academy, and I look forward to seeing you in this video right now. See ya.